Hello, and welcome back to the We Don't Wanna podcast. This is the show where two certified dipshits make uncertified takes about your favorite series. We are your hosts. I am Zach. Joining me as always, my always co-host, Scotty Westside. And on today's episode, we have a very special guest joining us again, our good friend Chaz.
Back by popular demand, it's
Back by popular demand.
I don't know how I possibly could have forgotten about the Marin Trant thing, but here we are.
Yeah, I don't know how you could have forgotten about that.
Oh,
Dude,
God,
it's still so good, dude.
We missed you, Chaz, buddy.
We
Thanks
missed
for coming
you,
to
Trant,
see us
buddy.
again.
Thanks for having me back, boys. As always, it's kind of a pleasure.
Yeah, true. That's kind of very perfectly sums up our friendship, if we're being honest, you know.
Charon Maz.
I might get to see Scott here pretty soon. Looking forward to maybe that happening.
That's true. We're hanging out. That's not maybe happening, bitch. That's happening. You better figure your
It's
end
maybe
out.
on his side because Chaz doesn't know how to plan anything.
Because Chaz is Chaz. That's definitely a thing.
That's very true. Wait, hold on. Chaz, how the fuck are you doing, my guy?
I am doing very well. Last time I recorded a Game of Thrones episode, because we did do the House of the Dragon episode. We didn't really talk about it much, but the last time I was on the show, I was talking about how well I was doing in my job at the time. And then,
Yeah.
And then literally like a week and a half or 2 weeks later, they closed my branch.
Chaz
time
got canned, dude.
By the time the
Yeah.
episode actually aired, came out, you had already lost your job, right? As I recall.
That's so
right. So the
fucking
first
funny.
time
funny.
I forgot and I completely spaced that we had even talked about that. And then I'm
Peak
listening
humor,
to the
dude.
episode, and of course it talks. Oh, I'm really finding my rhythm at work.
What a legend.
So I've
the
started
famous Chaz jinx, by the way. Just
Yeah, no
truly
Yeah,
kidding.
let's
showing-
not talk about how well your new job is going, because
Yeah,
Well-
let's not.
Well, that's the beautiful thing, boys, and I've shared this with you off camera, but it was certainly off to a rocky start. Not because the company sucks or anything like that. It's actually a great company to work for. Shout out to Purple Mattress. But
Hashtag
they're not
Not
going to
spons-
like this
not
branding. We're about to
sponsored.
talk about dicks all the time. Yeah.
That's what we do here.
Anyway, we had quite a few hiccups and quite a few bumps along the road on the road to opening my store here in Albuquerque. The funniest of which I shared a photo with you guys of a midnight shopper that broke into our store at 12:30 a.m. Walks in with his pants around his ankles, as you already know. But beyond that I am doing very well.
Sounds
Thank
like
you for
Albuquerque,
asking.
man. Sounds like
Yeah.
on brand Albuquerque.
Fucking Albuquerque, dude.
Listeners, if we have any listeners in Albuquerque,
So bad.
sorry, but also you know what we're talking
You know
about.
what
You fucking know.
You know what you signed up for with
Holy shit.
Albuquerque.
Oh man, well we're glad to have you back, dude. It's always kind of a pleasure, as you said earlier. Scotty, everything going all right on your end?
Everything's great. All is well.
Chaz, doesn't Scott look
loving
good?
life and living great.
Yeah, dude, I swear he's lost some weight. It's tough
Wow,
to tell.
that's
I don't think
impossible.
if somebody didn't
Zach
tell
would
me,
never be able to tell. My one of my best friends would notice if that were the case,
Dude.
but it's
have we talked
Awesome.
about this?
we mentioned it
on-
in passing, but we have not actually
Dude, okay,
ever
so
acknowledged
Scott, are you okay if we talk about
it.
this?
That's fine, yeah, sure. Why
so
not?
fucking
We don't
funny
have
to me,
enough
dude.
to talk about this fucking episode. We gotta open this now.
So
This is a
Scott,
story that
over the
needs to be
past,
told.
Yeah,
over the past, how long, Scott, have you been fasting? 4 months, 3 months?
It's the very end of June, so just over 3 months.
So whenever the fuck that was, it's currently October now, so do the math.
Correct.
Scott's been fasting,
Do the
and you've lost what have you lost? 50 pounds?
47 pounds now.
Okay, 47 pounds. And he sends me a picture the other day of him wearing one of our tank tops. Merch plug, by the way.
True.
Link in the description below.
Yeah. That tank goes hard.
It does go hard. And I was like, yo, Scott, you look really thin in this picture. And he's like, yeah, I mean, yeah, I do. I've lost like 40 something pounds.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hold on, what?
Wait,
shut the fuck up, dude. So yeah, Scott basically he bought a tapeworm from some guy in Mexico.
Yeah.
And
I got a tapeworm guy. Yeah.
You got a tapeworm.
Who doesn't have a tapeworm guy?
Yeah.
Zach, one of my absolute best friends, sees me over video call. We record
twice a week at least.
Yeah, twice a week. We record several hours of podcasts every week. Chat in between, text, play video games.
Touch tips.
Spend many tips. The whole 9 yards, just
the whole
took
4
him.
inches.
The whole 4 true. I just did not notice that I had lost, a substantial
But guys,
amount of weight.
everybody, listeners, look at how great this motherfucker looks.
Hey, I appreciate
Tell him in the comments below.
Hey, let's not talk about, let's not throw stones here, Scott, because
and let's talk about how good he looks in comparison to Chaz.
Shit to Marin Trant.
To Marin Chaz.
Seems slightly uncalled for.
What were you saying, Chaz?
Let's not throw stones here, Scott, because after mercilessly not letting anybody off of the hook for forgetting your birthday, you know where I'm going with this. All day, I'm just waiting for a text from my 2 best friends about
birthdays are hard, okay?
Dude, birthdays are hard.
I'm gonna use Scott's line against him here. It's not like there's a thing called a calendar that helps you remember these things. So
calendars are overrated.
Calendars are overrated. I was very busy at your birthday, pal. That's what it was. It was.
Mm-hmm.
It was
he
all
was busy
part of
celebrating.
Or maybe, did you ever think that since you forgot my birthday first, I was getting back at you for forgetting my birthday?
Yeah, except for when I called you on it, you're like, "Oh yeah, I had no idea today was your birthday." So,
damn it.
Anyway,
moving on.
Fuck your all's birthdays.
We're all bad friends. Is the actually though? Truly. In the first opportunity I got, I noticed Scott's weight loss. I don't record a podcast with him once a week or twice a week, so I did notice.
This is how it works. I see him so frequently; it's a gradual change.
No,
that doesn't work.
No, we're not.
It does work. You agreed with this.
The people at work that I see every day absolutely noticed. So I told you the story of that old lady who I'm pretty sure I've never met before in my life. I
do remember that story.
Who are you? I barely even recognize you. I was like, who are you? I don't know who you are.
I don't know who you are, actually.
I'm pretty sure this is your first day working here. I've never seen you before in my life, but thanks, I guess.
Oh my god.
But we're not talking about that. Jesus, we have enough to talk about this episode because this is a biggin. This is the season 4 finale or episode. This would be 40? Yeah, episode 40. The Children.
The Children.
And boy, what an episode it is. Before we get into it, we are going to jump into the recap here to start us off right. And to truly start us off right, we're going to have our guest boy, Chazzy Boy, start us off. Hit us with that recap, buddy, that hopefully is working for you.
Yeah, if you see me squinting down, everybody already knows, thanks to Scott and Zach, that Chaz is blind/colorblind, so I might struggle here and there, but
we specifically color code these recaps to make it harder for Chaz.
To make it harder. True. All right, bud, start us off here.
All right, here we go. So, we begin where we last left off with Jon Snow going beyond the wall to try and kill Mance Rayder. Jon tells Mance he's there to negotiate, and when they sit down and drink to their fallen comrades. Mance knows that the Night's Watch is low on men and supplies, and says to open the gate or he will kill everyone at Castle Black. Mance notices Jon going for a knife when a horn blows, and Stannis' army attacks the Wildling camp. The Mounted Knights make short work of the Wildling defenders, and Mance surrenders, saying his people have bled enough. Stannis and Davos accept Mance's surrender, but he refuses to kneel. Jon tells them that he knows Stannis is the king because his father, Ned Stark, died for him. Jon counsels mercy for Mance and advises that Stannis burn all of the bodies. In King's Landing, the Mountain is dying from poisoned wounds that Oberyn gave him. Pycelle says he's as good as dead, but Qyburn is confident that he can save him, so Cersei tells him to do it. Cersei tells Tywin that she will not marry Loras Tyrell, and he's like, oh yeah, you damn well will. She says that she will destroy their house before she lets him and Marjorie hurt Tommen by fighting over him. Cersei says that she'll tell everyone the truth about her and Jaime. Tywin refuses to believe it at first, but she then convinces him. Cersei then goes to tell Jaime. Cersei then goes to Jaime and tells him what she's done and that she's beyond caring what others think of them. She chooses Jaime and rejects Tywin and Tyrion as family.
Heyo.
In the East, Daenerys is the title champ. An old man comes to her and tells her how much better his life was as a slave and that now that he's free, he has nothing. He asks that he be allowed to sell himself back to his master. She refuses, but allows for a yearly contract. Sir Barristan advises that this will not go well. Another man approaches and brings her the burnt bones of his 3-year-old daughter. The man weeps as he tells how Drogon killed her. Daenerys takes her other 2 dragons into the catacombs and chains them up and locks them in. Back at Castle Black, the Night's Watch burns the bodies of their brothers who died defending the wall. Jon asks their prisoner Tormund if the free folk say words or have funeral rites for their dead. Tormund says it doesn't matter, but tells Jon that Ygritte loved him and that she belongs in the true North. Jon takes her body alone north of the wall and makes a funeral pyre to burn it. Way north of the wall, Bran and company have arrived at the weirwood tree that Bran saw in his vision of the three-eyed raven. As they approach the cave below the tree, whites burst out of the ground and attack them. Jojen is killed in the fighting, and just as Bran is about to be killed as well, one of the children of the forest saves them by throwing some hot fireballs. The rest
PK
of them
fire.
Fire? Nice. The rest of them make it into the cave where the whites cannot follow. The forest child that saved them takes them to see the three-eyed raven, who is an ancient-looking old dude encased in the tree roots. Bran asks if he can make him walk again. The three-eyed raven says he will never walk again, but he will fly. Somewhere in the Vale, Brienne and Pod come upon Arya and the Hound. Arya and Brienne briefly bond over swords and learning how to fight, when Pod recognizes the Hound. Brienne realizes who Arya is and tells her she swore a vow to Cat to find and protect her. The Hound calls Brienne out on her Lannister sword and gold, which she cannot deny. The Hound and Arya both say that she's not going with Brienne, and a fight commences. Brienne and the Hound go back and forth and both get beat to absolute shit. The fight ends, though, when Brienne knocks the Hound off a cliff, breaking his leg. Arya hides from Brienne and Pod, and they run off to find her. Arya goes to the Hound, and he begs for her to kill him. She stone cold refuses and takes his money and leaves.
Savage.
Yeah. Slightly.
In the dungeons at King's Landing, Jaime comes to free Tyrion. He tells him that Varys and a ship are waiting for him, and they say their goodbyes. However, instead of getting out immediately, Tyrion sneaks into the Tower of the Hand to confront his father. When he gets to Tywin's room, he finds Shae in his father's bed. Shae grabs a knife and attacks Tyrion, but he strangles her to death with her gold necklace. Tyrion grabs a crossbow from the wall and goes to the bathroom, where he finds his father squatting on the john. Tywin tries to talk and manipulate his way out of the situation and says killing Shae doesn't matter because she was a whore. Tyrion warns him against saying that word again, but Tywin does, and Tyrion shoots him twice, killing him. Tyrion leaves and meets Varys and gets in a crate on the ship bound across the narrow sea. Elsewhere, Arya reaches a port town and asks a ship captain to take her north to the Wall. The captain tells her he's going home to Bravos. She gives him the iron coin from Jaqen and says Valar Morgulis. He responds Valar de Hyris and gives her a cabin on the ship bound for Bravos. And that is the end of a banger of an episode.
Truly.
I have a hot take that I want to start this discussion off with.
Okay, I have a hot take as well, but let's hear your first.
We love some steamy hot takes.
I don't know that you guys are going to love this one.
All right.
Every single time we talk about our favorite episodes of Game of Thrones, which is very often, by the way, for those of you listening, this is a conversation that for some reason...
often than it should. Really.
Every few months or so, one of us is doing a rewatch of the series and is like, dude, this episode's so good, or that episode's so good. And what do you think this is the best? Can this one be the best? You know, this comes up often.
In case you didn't know, we're giant nerds.
I have always said that this is my favorite, if not a top 2 episode of all time of Game of Thrones.
Same.
Upon this rewatch, though, especially how heavy we dived into last episode, I don't know that I feel that strongly about it. I will never deny the fact that this episode is unbelievably great, but I became tremendously aware of how slow it starts and how little character moments we get in this, and I just kind of was like feeling like I wanted it to get to the end stuff already.
That's actually really interesting that you say that, Zach, because again, huge the children stan, love the episode, but I actually felt the same way today.
That's so weird. What about you, Scott?
I don't think Scott likes it.
Are we just in like bad moods or something? Because I felt the exact same way.
We just planned this, I promise.
No, I'm honestly shocked. I thought if anyone, Chaz was going to be the one that was like, no, you guys are crazy.
Yeah.
I was watching it and I was just like, you know, I always remember this episode because of how many huge events and like big, like earth-shattering, like world-changing things happen.
Right.
But, and yes, that's still true. That's accurate. I just didn't find myself enjoying the individual scenes as much. And maybe it's because we're so, you know, doing the podcast here, we're hyper analyzing and, you know, and taking a much more critical eye than we ever would just on a normal watch through. But yeah, I felt the exact same way. I was like, yeah, I mean, Watchers on the Wall, which we talked about last week, go watch that episode, kind of puts this episode to shame.
Yes. Yeah, man.
I'm 100% with you guys. I was a little disappointed on this rewatch, and I've seen this episode like 4, 5, 6 times already.
I mean, we've each watched the series, I mean, many times.
Yes.
Scott, you probably the most, then I think me, and then Chaz. But still, like, at least 4 times each.
The other thing I'll say, and I think this plays into it, is I have recently come to realize and appreciate that this is kind of this episode in ways that it deviates, and I try not to be this guy. Ways in it deviates.
You're being that guy.
I know. Ways it deviates in the book, from the book, specifically in this episode, I feel like drastically impacts multiple characters and their storylines going forward. And I think it's much for the worse. And we can talk about that a little bit later as well.
Yeah, I think your verbiage of saying enjoying the individual scenes as much is literally my thought. Watching this episode, I was like, scene was okay, but like I didn't love it. Scene was okay, but like I didn't love it. Scene was okay, but I didn't love it. And then I got to like, and then I look at the like, I paused it and I was like, dude, we're 30 minutes into this thing.
See,
what the fuck?
What's weird what you said about like starting it slow. I think I enjoyed the first part of this episode maybe the most. Like I
feel the reverse of that.
Really?
Yeah, I'm with Zach on this one. Like, and I found myself often like, all right, let's just get to where Tyrion does the thing, you know. And then of course,
blame you for that.
Was that your hot take, Scott? Was going to be the same thing?
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a hot take. Turns out it's a scalding, lukewarm take over here. Scalding, lukewarm. That's definitely a thing. No, I still really enjoy this scene between Mance and John.
We can
start
So
there.
good.
The whole to Gren and Mag to Mag and Gren thing
dude.
is just phenomenal. You know, we mentioned it last week about how much we love Gren and we love the end that he gets, and this is kind of a very good send off. I feel like for him, and I appreciate it so much.
Of all the ways I'd kill you, poison would not be it, or whatever he tells John. Fucking baller, dude.
To go back to the Gren and Mag thing, like I just loved the chuckle that I got when he goes into Mag's lineage. He was the king of his people, blah blah blah. A long story. John's like, Gren was from a farm.
Yeah, Gren came up from a farm, and that's all he was. He's just a farm
and
kid that did his duty.
I love that Mance just is like to Mag and Gren.
Yep, it's so good.
Yeah, dude.
It's very,
the absolute. I think just like the absolute respect and like for being this figure who deserted the Night's Watch, and you could say, you know, doesn't have honor as this series would, you know, kind of have you believe. Like, this guy just has a respect for realness. You know what I mean? Like, just being human. Yeah. And I absolutely love it. So
100%.
I also have a quick note here. It's so easy to forget when you're looking at the big scheme of like this show that Stannis goes to the north. Like, I always forget this shit.
Yeah.
And then you see the riders coming in and you're like, fuck, that's right, dude. That's right. Stannis hooks these guys up, man.
I feel like, and again, I'm probably conflating my memories of like the books and the show, but I feel like upon my first like read through and watch through of this, like the Stannis coming up to the wall was like a big shock and surprise. But like as we've analyzed these episodes and done this leading up to it, like they talk about it and like foreshadow it a lot. Like it shouldn't really be a surprise. Do you guys remember whether or not you were surprised by this happening here or not? Like on your first watch?
On my first watch, I definitely like I more so was surprised that like he showed up and like rode through the wildlings. Because there was like I think my first watch through, I obviously didn't understand the lore as much, and so I was very much like oh, who's this secret army that's helping the like I thought it was some scheme or some shit, right?
Right.
But no, like even on rewatch, like I could still see where like the shock value would be there, because the way that Melisandre tells Stannis why they need to go north is because of the White Walkers, not because of the Wildling army. So I mean, there is still like a oh, okay,
and
cool.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but that was the season 3 finale where she looks into the fires and like Davos kind of saves himself by giving them the thing, the paper.
Yeah.
So I feel like it is something that's easy to forget. We get some brief stuff between, you know, with Stannis's camp in between now and then, but that was a while ago, you know.
Yes.
What about you, Chaz? Did you remember, or did this surprise you when you first watched it?
Going back to my first watch, I kind of mirrored Zach's sentiment, like, oh, who's this? And then, like, once they say who it is, I wasn't super shocked and I wasn't super taken aback. But the one thing that was a little bit shocking was my man with 1,000 L's finally got a dub.
True.
Stannis
gets a win.
So that was the part you're like, all right, cool. Like I up to that point was thinking, all right, this is where we turn it around for Stannis, and I was really excited. to see what would happen in the future for Stannis, and of course that's
I
discussion
never
for a later episode.
I never loved Stannis, so like I feel like my feelings were like oh, well, I'm glad he saved Jon. Like,
right?
Like that's really it.
I was so horny for Ned that like what Ned wanted sort of inherently became what I wanted.
I can see that.
Totally.
And I think that's why I was really pulling for Stannis.
I feel like you're probably not alone in that.
It's what hashtag Ned would want.
Yeah.
What would Ned want?
Like Jon Snow says when he like introduces himself, he's like, "Yeah, I know he's the king. My father died for him."
Yeah. So it was
this
nice
interaction
to see for that reason.
Is quite good too.
Yes. That's what I was gonna say.
Mm-hmm.
He when he tells him who his father was, and he's like, "What would your father do with this?"
Right.
Man?
Yep.
Dude. Also, hold on, because this is like one step ahead of this. When Stannis is like, it's customary to kneel before a king when you surrender to a king, and Mance is like, we do not kneel, and Stannis kind of looks around and he's like, look, man, like we don't have enough food for everybody, like basically like your people are fucked if you disrespect me. Like we don't want to have to like beaten dogs or whatever, like whatever his terminology is, and Mance is like, all the same. We do not kneel.
We do not kneel.
I was like, damn, dude, I love me some Mance Raider, man.
That's a good moment.
Yeah.
I also greatly appreciate, like you said, what Jon said, where he's like, I was this man's prisoner once. He treated me with respect and honor. I feel like you should do him the same.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, all the interactions between like Mance and Jon, I really do like in this episode.
As we're talking about it, like Scott's kind of winning me on the beginning of the episode. Might just be better
so
than
it's
the
just
end of
right.
it,
I feel like it's just
so
this.
Good.
It's just this though.
No, I agree.
Because I feel like after this, like the Cersei Tywin scene, I think is quite good, but it's still not like phenomenal.
I do have a hot take coming up. This one might be more of a hot take, but we'll see. Briefly, do we need to talk about the mountain and the Qyburn thing? Like,
sure.
Just dudes.
I fucking hate the mountain, dude. I hate this whole. I understand like the what is it, Robert Strong or in the books, and the mountain 8.0, fucking fully reloaded.
8.0.
I don't know.
Live and reloaded. The mountain.
Live and reloaded. GT.
I think we can agree. Mountain second form is the worst one. But do we like the third mountain actor or the first mountain actor better?
I feel like there's been more than just 3, right?
I think it was only 3.
I don't even remember.
I don't.
I'm kind of with Zach is like. Sandor is the interesting Clegane brother to me, and I just don't really give a shit about.
There's nothing interesting about him. He's a fucking idiot. Like he's
honestly,
just
I think I like the first actor the best.
I don't know. I like Thor.
He'd be chopping
Bjornsson
off
or whatever his name is.
Yeah, when he chopped off that dude's
heads.
that horse's head, that was pretty intimidating.
Yeah.
But regardless, it's just like Pycelle's a fucking idiot and Qyburn's a weirdo, and that's about the extent of that scene.
Yeah, pretty much.
I do think this scene between Cersei and Tywin was one of the better acted scenes in the episode.
Yep.
And this I didn't take a ton of notes in this episode because I was writing the recap. And I was relying on you two. But one line I did put down here is when Cersei tells Tywin, "How can anyone so consumed with the idea of his family have any conception what his actual family was doing?
Yeah.
One real look at your children and you would have known." And I was like, holy shit, there is not many people that can drop a line like that on our dude Tywin.
And his response was a little like, "What you gonna do with it, dude?" And he really doesn't do much with it. What can you say to that?
He kind of has no response here, which that basically never happens to Tywin. I I was gonna bring up something about Tywin here, but I want to circle around to it at the end.
Okay.
Anything you two wanted to say about this Cersei Tywin thing?
I just really like the I will burn this house to the ground.
Yeah.
Back in the day, I'm gonna put myself in the mind of season 4, watching for the first or even maybe second time, because I had watched this season
been
several times before
2015, Zachy boy.
The series had finished. Yeah, it sounds about right. When she's saying that type of shit, which she does say that kind of shit often, there were just so many fun like speculations and theories about Cersei, like kind of inheriting the role of like the Mad King or like the Mad Queen. And I like, this was one of the first times where I was like into it, and I was like, yeah, you bad bitch, dude. Like you're a fucking crazy psycho lady, and I love it. Holy shit. So yeah, I'm a fan of it. The scene was good, but when I think of the scenes between her and Tywin, or Tywin and other people, this is not one that I'm like, I'm about it.
Yes. Yeah. 100% agree.
Chaz,
so
oh yeah, I'm sorry, Chaz, go ahead.
Did you have anything to say about that one, or were you good?
What is going on here?
No. All of my sentiments are mirrored with what you guys. Nothing more to contribute.
The hot take I have is the Cersei Jaime scene. This watch through, this scene didn't work for me. There was something. This never happens. Like, you guys know, I am probably like Cersei champion, like Lena Headey fan, A+ #1 over here. Some about her delivery in this scene did not work for me. I didn't buy it.
You know what it is?
What?
You know what it is? It's the super dramatic push of the book across the entire fucking table.
No, that I liked.
It's so fucking funny.
I liked
so
the book.
cringe.
Like, get the fuck out of here.
No.
It was like when she was like, just like all up on him and like whisper screaming in his ear, like, I don't care about Tywin Lannister and all this. It's just, I don't know, maybe I'm really nitpicking, but like, there was something about this scene that I was just like, I don't buy this performance
I can
most
kind
of
of
others.
I can kind of see and kind of agree with like not really favoring like the more, I don't know that I want to say seductive, but like whatever this like energy is that's coming from Cersei. It just like, it almost seems like, I don't know, because like, you know, to me, what stands out as kind of weird is that during the Tywin part, she's telling him, I choose like to stay because of Tommen. You know, and when she gets to Jaime, she tells him, I want to stay with you. I chose you.
Right.
So there's part of it that seems a little manipulative, a little bit of like playing, like to make sure that Jaime's on her side, you know? Jaime's not going anywhere. I don't doubt that she does love him, you know what I mean? But it just seems like the way that it was played didn't come off as super genuine.
That may be what it was, yeah. Could be.
I mean, for being the queen of manipulation, I was just about to call out to this. For being the absolute queen of manipulation, this effort felt like a little lackluster. But I think she did it definitely to recruit Jaime to her cause, so she could stay with Tommen.
Yeah, I mean, she always be like, it's really difficult to gauge like how sincere Cersei is in any given situation. Like,
well, hold on, I figured it out. She just went through a breakup, or found out that her side piece was cheating on her, so she goes back to #1 and is like, all right, I'm all yours. I'm here to fuck. That's what happened. It just seemed weird.
Wait, her side piece?
No, I know. It's a metaphor, Scott. Obviously, Tywin is not her side piece, but like, she had this like like lash out, like this argument
Yes,
and this
okay,
like
sure.
like she's like upset and like as a way of like sticking it to the man and like getting back and like
Okay,
whatever.
sure.
She's like, I'm running to Jamie. So it just seems like this forced kind of like rebound in a sense. Obviously,
Yeah.
You guys understand that that's not what I actually think.
No,
Like,
no, yeah. You had me confused for a minute. I get the idea. I get the vibe you're going for now.
I'm gonna fuck you to show him what's up. Is what's happening.
Sure. So yeah, I really like the Cersei Tywin scene. The Cersei Jaime one a little less so. But so yeah, let's talk about the East.
Oh, you mean our favorite part of the episode?
Our favorite part of every episode. Good old Dany girl. This part is okay because I appreciate anytime the show is like, hey, Daenerys, the world is not black and white like you think it is sometimes. That there is a whole heap of gray and things are not as simple as you want them to believe a lot of times.
I think the only reason Scott likes this or somewhat likes this because it paints Dany in sort of a dumb light.
No, that's not entirely true.
You know, I actually feel like this paints Dany in a light of which like she is learning and she realizes,
I
oh,
would
fuck.
agree.
Okay, I need to give you like you have the freedom to choose,
Right?
and I think that was cool.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think it's a
show
bad
some
scene in
vulnerability.
any way. Right? Yeah, it shows a little bit of vulnerability, but also just like I think maybe I feel more it's like humility a little bit. Like
Yeah.
she's kind of like, okay, like just like Scott said, it's not black and white. I need to give you the choice, the chance to choose.
She
Like,
does
it's part of
not
being free.
change her mind very often, and this is like a small kind of acquiescence, but you know, it's her relenting a little bit, which she normally does not do.
And then to find out that she's torn because Drogon out there be causing some mayhem, is tough because then she has to figure out, okay, what do I do? How do I proceed? These are basically my babies. I don't want to lock them up, but kind of have to.
Are they?
Yeah, this scene's a little hard to watch just because like
It's so bad.
I feel for that guy.
Oh no! I'm sorry. I'm thinking of like when she's locking up the
Oh
dragons.
yeah, no, sorry.
So
that's
fucking
yeah. Okay, I have. We'll get
Screw
to that.
the guy and his dead daughter, dude. Like it's real sad that she has to lock up her
We'll get
dragons.
Your daughter died?
Yeah.
That's cringe, bro.
We'll get to that in a second. That dude, like, I do feel for that guy, cause that's so shitty and just
It
like,
is some shit.
fucking goddamn Drogon dragons gonna be doing dragon things. But yeah, no, I have big problems with that chaining scene, but probably not for the reasons that you do, Zach. My giant
Did
beef.
she fucking get on a cycle of fucking testosterone?
Yes,
to lift
like,
up
dude,
those
she
giant
is on
shackles?
all of the juice because there is no way in hell she is lifting that fucking shackle in a million years. That thing would have
Dude,
to weigh a ton.
The fact that Zach immediately knew what you meant, like, what a weird fucking thing for you
How
guys to
do you not think about that? She just
mean,
like
how do
so
you picture her
daintily,
picking that up, like-
and I'm just like, what the? That's not how heavy ass chains work.
when you point it out, like, yeah, it definitely makes sense and what you're saying checks out. But what a fucking dumb thing.
Dude, I don't know
It just
why.
seems like
That bugs me so much every time I watch.
It's
this
because I
scene.
feel like after all this time, our tips are probably more connected than we like to admit.
True. Our tips are very, very connected.
Very connected.
But yeah, obviously that will have big ramifications for the future in that the Mother of Dragons now has access to 0 dragons. So, you know, that could be a problem.
Yeah.
plus what the hell is Drogon doing anyway, dude? Like
yeah, he's still in his rebellious teenager phase. God, Mom. Anyway,
never let me eat the little girls, Mom. Fucking pieces out, dude. Oh man.
Real quick back up at Castle Black. We probably should have talked about this earlier, but the scene for the Fallen Brothers, we get to see Gren one last time. Very sad.
R.I.P.
Yeah, R.I.P. to our boy Gren. And then I do like this conversation that John has with Tormund.
Yeah.
What does he say? Like when he asks him, like, "Hey, do you say any words? Do you have
he's
funeral
like,
rites,
do you want to say any words over them? And he's like,
Right.
words.
Yeah.
What kind of words?
Yeah.
And John's like I don't know what the free folk
Say
say for a funeral.
farewell
What do
or
you
something
do
like
to
that.
say farewell? Or what? I don't know how you do it. And he's like, do what?
Yeah.
He's like, say farewell. And
The dead can't hear
Tormund's
us,
just like,
boy.
the dead can't hear us, boy.
Yeah.
It's very good.
It is very good.
Yeah, typical Tormund and John sort of banter. You love it. The cultural differences are sort of what makes their conversations so great.
So great.
I loved the transition from that to "Did you love her?" and then we transitioned into all she ever did was talk about killing you.
Yeah. Personally, I like it best when we're getting Tormund's sex ed class when he's teaching John sex ed. But this is all right too. Yeah, I love how Tormund's like, oh, no, fuck no, she didn't tell me that. All she ever talked about was killing you, so that's how I knew.
That's how I knew.
It's like, typical woman, am I right, guys? Am I right?
What in the Chaz's relationships?
True. But yeah, and then obviously big sad John having a special funeral pyre for our girl Ygritte, R.I.P. Or my girl. Me and Chaz's girl, right? Zach is the only crazy one? Yeah. Zach is.
She's just okay.
No.
You're the worst. You're just not okay.
I mean, I'm not okay for many reasons, but my opinions on Ygritte is not one of them.
Ygritte's as hot as Zach is terrible. Like that's the best.
That's a good way of putting that. That's a good way of putting that.
Literally nobody is that hot.
Also true though.
Maybe.
And speaking of incredibly sad deaths, R.I.P. to Jojen, am I right? Who's gonna miss Jojen over here? Big shouts to our guy.
Jojen stands.
Jojen stands, rise up. Let's go, Jojen gang.
Bro, that fucking slimy frog eating motherfucker.
I think I literally wrote Jojen will be missed. Haha, not really.
My note reads exactly, oh great, another fucking Bran scene. And then immediately after I'm like, oh, well, I guess this one's kind of important. But yeah, dude, Jojen's actor is the worst when he's getting stabbed. I don't think I've ever seen like And then when he has his "go without me" kind of line, it's just so fucking bad.
I think the intention is that like he's already kind of dying, and like that this doesn't barely register. Him getting stabbed doesn't even register because he's already like half dead. But yeah, no, I'm 100% with you. It does not. It's not the best.
So my note for this whole scene is that, man, this whole fight with the whites is ... really not great at all.
Not quite as good as I remembered. The Children of the Forest throwing out the Hadoukens also not as
fucking
cool
PK fires,
as I remembered.
They're like when I was young, when I was a wee lad, they were like these fucking cool ass fireballs, and now they're like, you guys know those little firecracker things you throw at the ground?
That poppers. Yeah, poppers, man.
Little poppers, dude.
I was more cracking up at just like the Children of the Forest form when she's throwing these poppers. She was putting everything she had in that. She was like, eh! I was like, oh hell yeah.
Dude, she'd never thrown a baseball in her life, bro.
We need to get us some Shohei.
Yeah,
talk
big
baseball
time.
Now. Yeah,
True.
the most hype part of that whole fight sequence was Bran's direwolf saving him from one of them. But other than that, it was pretty. Wow, the more we talk about this episode, the less I'm in love with it.
Why are we shitting all over this episode?
Okay, so like,
this is season 4.
I mean, look, it's not a bad episode.
No,
Let's
it's
just
not.
let me just Let us all.
I feel like
up.
we do all need to state that for the record. This is still
this
a great
episode is still incredible.
Yes.
I mean, still probably a top 10 episode.
Yes.
Going from Danny to Jojen is probably not the best support of that.
Yeah, I agree.
Hey, this looks like shit.
But like, man, the whites look bad. The acting from, just like Chaz said, the acting from Jojen's not great. Bran's boring.
I just had a thought. I think we're suffering from hot D recency bias. In that
I was gonna mention that earlier, and now, like, because one is so fresh in the other, even though we're experiencing hot D for the first time, and we're doing this for like the 13th time with Game of Thrones, it feels like hot D stacks up against Game of Thrones a lot better than we originally thought, and I think that, to your point, that's some of the recency bias.
I'm not even like thinking so much about like story wise or acting wise. It's just like hot D looks so incredible, and like the production values are so incredibly through the roof. Also, it's 7-ish years in the future, so technology has increased some. So like when I see fucking Vagar looking sick as hell like a couple nights ago, and now I'm watching this chill in the forest throw Hadoukens, and I'm just like, that looks stupid. So that's, I think that might be a contributing factor here.
I wish that this three-eyed raven never, like, I wish we never got the new three-eyed raven.
I completely agree. I love that actor. His name is escaping me off the top of my head, but they should have just kept this old dude.
Yeah, I just thought that this was like, what?
I was just saying, apparently a hot take. I actually prefer the second one.
I just think that this guy really embodies the like weird fucking mystical ass thing
better than the other guy. Is like a personable old grandpa. Like, and that's not what I feel like this guy is supposed to be as much.
As our exposure to the character goes, though, like, he's a teacher. He becomes a teacher. Right now, he's just this weird dude.
I don't know.
He just loses a lot of like the
mysticism. Yeah,
that's fair.
But that's a conversation for actually 2 seasons from now, because if I'm recalling correctly, Bran is not in season 5. So hey,
you're right.
Shouts to season 5.
Why is it season 5
new best season? Season 5 new best season.
Season 5 new best season.
All right, guys. I think it's time.
Yeah, let's
talk about the good stuff.
We've been shit talking a top 10 episode a lot. Let's talk some good stuff. Let's talk. Well, again, not so good, because I came to the realization that this is actually the end of Arya and the Hound, and that made me sad.
Well, true, yes, but man, this fight scene,
great.
I don't think that there's a better like single combat in the show.
I wrote, that's my exact note. Like, and now comes a contender for the best one-on-one fight. If it's not the best, you could easily put it top 3, and nobody can dispute that.
I think you're absolutely right. The big takeaway I had from this fight was like, this fucking music crushes.
It's so good. Yes.
The music during the fight, like the panicking strings, is just
you don't
so
call
good.
out the music as much, and I had it in my notes to talk about that. I'm so glad you mentioned it, dude.
It's real fucking good.
Fuck, man, it's so rad. It's so hype, dude.
It's very hype. The start of this, briefly, I appreciate the fact that like Brienne and Arya kind of share their little moment, because they are similar in a lot of ways.
Yes.
But then instantly, like, Arya's defenses go straight back up, and she's like, no, I don't trust you. I don't think I'm into going anywhere with you. And as soon as Brienne is like, yes, Jaime Lannister gave me this sword, Arya is just like, shut down. The shield generator is up. No, fuck off, basically.
Yeah, the Hound ruined a real moment there, but in typical Hound fashion, which I was there. He
got done shitting and was like, "Oh, I'm here to ruin this moment."
Yeah. What place is safe, you dumb bitch? I loved everything about that.
Hold on, Chaz. Thank you for bringing up that quote because, okay, she goes, "I'll take you to safety," and he goes, "Safety? Where the fuck's that? Her aunt in the Erie's dead, her mother's dead, her father's dead, her brother's dead. Winterfell is a pile of rubble. There is no safety, you dumb bitch. If you don't know that by now, you're the wrong one to watch over her."
Hell yeah, Sandor.
And then to even get even better into Sandor's character, she responds, "Oh, and that's what you're doing? Watching over her?" And he goes, "That's what I'm doing."
Fuck
and
yeah,
I'm like,
Sandor.
My fucking God.
That's
dude.
my goat. That's my fucking goat right there.
So fucking good. Oh my God.
I fucking loved it. What's that actress's name though? The one that plays
Gwendolyn Christie.
Gwendolyn Christie, yeah.
Dude, she's the one that sold the actual fight, especially when they're done with swordplay and it just comes to fisticuffs and she gives him a good old a fucking ball punch and he kicks her right in the
kicks her right in the taint.
What about when he gives her the old wham bam right in the clam? Can we talk about that? Dude just takes a running drop kick right to the
She fucking punts that taint, dude.
Wham bam in the
It's so good. Oh my God,
dude.
Yeah. Just to back up one more quick part I forgot about is when Brienne is like, "I swore a sacred vow to protect your mother." And Arya's in full stone face mode at this point, and she just goes, "Why didn't you?"
Dude.
And I'm just like, shit, man. Like, Arya does not fuck around. We've known that for a long time. But holy shit, she's
fantastic.
Truly cold-blooded.
So fucking good.
Also taking another step back before you go, Zach, like it wasn't until this moment when the Hound actually says it, dude, you're like, fuck, man, the Starks are down bad right now.
Yeah, true.
Like you don't even think about it in that moment.
The Starks are literally Arya and Sansa.
And Sansa, yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Half of Jon Snow.
Sorry,
and they're both essentially prisoners.
Yeah.
Didn't mean to cut you off, Zach, but
I
just wanted to call that out because that moment in the show was like, man, I hadn't really thought about it, but Starks are
Starks ain't looking too hot, man. I was just gonna say, man, like how brutal and just like real and painful this fight looks is just incredible to watch.
That's my favorite
it's such
part.
An experience.
That's my favorite part about this fight is just how down and dirty they get. Like there comes a part in the fight where it's like there's no more like form or like choreography or like honor or any of that bullshit involved. They are scrapping. Like they are just doing literally anything and everything. Dude, it hurts me so much when she bites off his ear.
Oh,
like,
dude.
Fuck, that hurts my head when she does that.
And then the way she
Sandor.
spit it out really made it even fucking better,
dude. Just that dude's face is already fucked up and burned to hell. You didn't have to do him like that.
and that was the good ear, right?
No, that was the
I
ear.
think it was the shitty ear. I think
it's the burned ear.
Yeah, this fight's real good. The music's good.
And again,
don't like the ending,
really
but you know, whatever.
She really sold that fight for me, just with the way she grunts with every hit. Like you can hear the exhaustion in her voice, but like she just obviously does not stop and does.
I hate Gwendolyn Christie's screams.
Okay.
I just like Scott. You remember when we were talking about the Bear and the Maiden Fair?
I do, yeah.
And how I hated her fucking scream.
The episode where you like went ham on the audio engineer.
Yes.
Yeah. Zach's got big beef with
I've got
audio
some
engineer.
big beef. I've got small beef actually.
Yeah, true. I would know. The thing, I wish I get that they're kind of trying to put Brienne over here. I wish that they had kind of made it a bigger point of the Hound is wounded. Like the bite thing. And obviously this goes down way different in the book. This fight doesn't happen at all. But like he should be suffering greatly from that wound. Also, it's a Valyrian steel sword versus not. But yeah, listen, this is my bias showing. Let's be real here. Like, I don't like seeing my boy lose. Like, he shouldn't lose this fight.
Well,
no, and that's a good point
that's legitimate
Valyrian.
though. Like, he is wounded. Like, it's the same reason that anybody out there who says, "Well, Brienne beat Jaime," it's like, okay, Jaime was imprisoned for a fucking year
and in chains.
He was cuffed.
He had bunions or whatever it was. It wasn't bunions. What was it? Corns. That corn. That's what he was complaining about.
I am more impressed by her fight with the Hound than I was with Jaime. But you're absolutely right, Scott. Like that, and I feel like the show doesn't do as good a job of portraying like the importance behind Valyrian steel and like how incredible it is. That's a big difference.
Yeah, I mean, look, not taking anything away from Brienne. Like, I mean, she still put Loras on his ass, and he is a legitimately good fighter. Like, she's a great warrior.
Yes.
Yeah. And, like, it takes an incredible warrior to be able to go toe-to-toe, whether you've got a Valyrian steel sword or not, with the Hound. It's just, you're absolutely right. The show portrays it a little bit in a way as, like, Brienne is the clear winner.
Right.
Where that isn't the case.
I wish they had shown him like a bit more like feverish and like not doing great from the bite, because that's what does him in the book. Like he doesn't fight anybody after that. The wound just immediately festers, and that's what kind of takes him down after a time. But we have to talk about obviously the end here, where
we
like do. Arya, we say all the time she's cold-blooded, like she does kind of like some questionable and terrible things sometimes, but holy shit does she reach some new levels of just damn. Like
it's a mixture of badassery and also like, girl, you need therapy, man.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. God, so
this scene hurts to watch.
It's tough. It's so uncomfortable.
Yeah, it really is.
And the Hound really went deep in his pockets to just give her a reason, and she wasn't having it, dude. She definitely wanted to stick you with it, and not in a good way.
It's rough. Cause like you said, he does literally everything. He tries every tactic, he tries like begging, he tries like pissing her off, he tries, like just like asking her nicely. It's like cross the name off your list. Like he literally does go to like, he's so desperate. He uses every tactic he can think of, and she's just stone face. Nah.
See you later, bro.
Enjoy.
Like, let me just grab this gold real quick.
Just grab your silver, bro. I'm outie.
Yeah, I love how it's so true to character. How she goes for the bag for his purse, and he like is like, oh wait.
Yeah.
He reaches for it. Like, don't do that. It's like, bro, you're gonna die, my guy.
Yeah.
What do you need this for?
Yeah. It's a tough scene to watch. That's my guy. And yeah, just Arya's a badass though. Still,
she is a badass. Like there is still, even though this is real fucked up and it's real questionable about like, man, there is something probably not okay in your brain, Arya. You are still a fucking
especially
badass.
Considering like they seem to be getting along pretty well at this point. And yes, he was still on her list, but like they were getting along. He sticks up for her. He even tells Brienne like, I'm the one looking after her. And then she turns right around and is like, nah, I'm not even going to give you the gift of mercy. I'm going to let you suffer and die on your own. That is, you do need some therapy, girl.
even in his he was hoping to be his final breaths, he's like encouraging her, hey, go with Brienne, because like you can tell
Right.
he clearly wants
does
the
care.
best for her.
Yeah,
and he
exactly.
definitely wants her to stay safe. The line,
I forgot he said that. It's a good call out.
Yeah,
you're not gonna last a day on your own, or some version of that. Like, damn, dude, like that's heartfelt.
He cares.
And then and then she just won't do him the favor of putting him out of his misery. The moment that I probably would have done it was where he goes, "Oh, and your sister, I should have fucked her bloody. At least I'd have one good memory."
Yeah.
Like, dude, that would have done it for me. But
yeah, I'm glad that you brought
that
that up, because he does still try to look out for her, and I like how he says you won't last a day on your own or something to that effect, and she just goes, bet I'll last longer than you. It's like,
Dude.
Jesus, Arya, like, you are a badass, but you are really doing my boy dirty here,
Dude. So fucking ruthless.
yeah. Anything else?
No, I think we're ready to
Yeah.
move to the scene.
Right.
One of my favorites. I mean, I would like to admit this entire like sequence to best scenes in the series. Scott.
Okay, sure.
From the moment that Jaime sets Tyrion free to obviously everything else that unfolds after that, I am just completely baffled. It's just so good. Astonished always, every single time I watch it.
Okay, so here's where I do have some problems.
Okay.
More so than I used to. But I will say,
is it a book versus
yes
show
I'm
thing?
actually no. I'm actually here for it, because as I watch it, I was wondering, and this was the first time I've ever wondered this, in my like million times of rewatching the entire series, was like, I wonder how they portrayed this in the book, and what was right, what was wrong, what was better, what was worse. So
okay.
I'm here for this.
Okay,
Zach.
I want Zach to give say his piece. The only thing I was gonna say right now is that I think the interaction between Tyrion and Tywin at the end is phenomenal, and I have basically zero complaints about that. It's specifically some of the Jaime Tyrion interaction where I have the issues. But you go ahead, and I don't want to steal your thunder. And
I mean,
blah, blah,
all
but
I'm saying is that like I love, to me, the portrayal that I see of Jaime and Tyrion and their relationship. It is just so. It just feels so good that this is what we're seeing. That Jaime
definitely
lets him out. What are you doing? What does it look like? And there's not a whole lot of exchange there, and I don't know if that's your problem.
That's part of the problem, yeah.
But it's, to me, there's no fault. There's no issue with this. Could it have been done better in the book? I honestly can't remember.
There's no issue right now as of this moment. The problem arises, honestly, moving forward. I think because of the big change that they make, it hinders Tyrion, and Tyrion's especially, his arc, his growth, his character development from here, and also Jaime's as well. So to give a brief recap, and the thing is, they didn't really have to change this, because they had pretty much everything they needed set up. So in the first season, we heard the story of Tyrion's first wife. Yes, everyone remembers this about Tysha. Basically what we find out here when Jaime releases Tyrion, the big twist, the big reveal, obviously the twist back then was that Jaime had paid this girl, that she was a whore, to make Tyrion a man, so to speak, that he had paid off like these would-be rapers, blah, blah, blah. The turn here when Jaime lets Tyrion out of prisons is Jaime is too consumed by his guilt, and he admits to Tyrion that actually was all a lie that Tywin forced him to tell Tyrion. Tysha was in fact just a crofter's daughter. The rapers were real. Everything that happened between him and Tysha was in fact real. So this basically drives a huge wedge in this moment in between Jaime and Tyrion. Tyrion, they do not part on good terms as they do here. And that kind of puts Tyrion in this spiral, which makes it way more believable for me, where he just has heard this incredibly disturbing truth that then would make him want to go and confront his father. Part of why this scene doesn't work for me here is because he's got this very like pleasant and good send off with his brother, with Jaime, and he's got a chance to escape, but now all of a sudden he's like, nah, I need to go up and confront my dad. It just doesn't flow well for me here. I don't buy it. Like, why would he do that here? What reason does he have? Like, he should be happy to escape with his life. Unlike the way it happens in the book, where he doesn't even care about his life then at that point, after he's found out this. So that's a big problem in the moment, but it's more about Tyrion's character going forward, and I think I'll have more to say about that in the later seasons. But that's the big change.
I see your problem with it, but also knowing how things are set up in the future and what will happen with that two character dynamic later on, I don't have as much of a problem with it. And it's because I haven't read the book, so it's easy to just not have a problem with it, because when I think of Tyrion's motivation to like detour to go see Tywin on his way out, you could just as easily say, well, this dude finally sentenced me to death, and that's my gripe, and that's what I'm going to go talk to him about. And then of course he stumbles onto Shay, and then all of the motivation is different.
Once he stumbles onto Shay, obviously.
Once he gets to Shay, the motivation is the same.
The motivation is clear and the same, yes. It's him deciding to go up the stairs that it's like...
Sure. I feel like this is the problem, Scott. I think that in the book there's a better reason for Tyrion to go up those stairs and to seek out Tywin.
Yes, absolutely.
And I will admit that. I understand that in comparison, it's such a stark contrast as to the why.
Mm-hmm.
But I also don't think, as a viewer, I don't think that there's many viewers out there who consume television intentionally at all who would go, no, why would he do that? This is stupid. Like,
and
I think people are much more
fine.
of the mindset of Chaz, or like what Chaz just said, of like, he's still pissed off at Tywin. Right. He still wants to confront him. He still wants that showdown with him. Like,
and that's fine. Like I said, in the moment, I don't have nearly as much problem with it. It's more about Tyrion's character moving forward.
Sure.
I also like the fact that it's pretty rare that you see a really genuine interaction involving two Lannisters. And that was kind of nice.
I don't feel like that's true.
I mean, if you do, it's with the kids. It's really like you never get anything genuine from Cersei to anyone else.
That's not true. The only times we do see Cersei being genuine is like a lot of the talk she has with Tyrion, oddly enough. Which are mostly show creations, but there's some of my favorite scenes, honestly.
Maybe not genuine was probably the poor choice of word. Heartfelt, right? Like, you very rarely see Lannisters care for each other as deeply, unless it's involving the kids, as deeply as Tyrion and
just
Jaime
rephrase that to just Tywin.
Basically just Tywin.
Yeah, it's a Tywin problem.
Cersei too. And for that matter, I think Tyrion...
I think all the conversations that Cersei has with anybody who will listen about how much she loves her children are very heartfelt and very true and real and character like moving. I think what you're saying is that this seems like a very stripped down, like way more of an intimate type of setting and conversation where there's no smoke and mirrors. There's no like game being played. This is just like raw and fucked up and like It also helps that Tywin is literally taking a shit because like you can't be as menacing. Although he is still pretty fucking menacing.
Still pretty fucking menacing.
I don't know. Do you feel like that like kind of explains like your thoughts or like? Because I don't know. I do think that like any conversation Cersei has with like Jaime or Tyrion or Tywin, when she's talking about how much she loves her kids, like she does seem very heartfelt. She's just a bitch about it.
I mean, yes, but again, just you don't see a lot of love between Lannisters, especially when Tyrion is involved. And
you're talking about like when him and Jaime say goodbye, basically.
Correct. Yeah. I wasn't.
Dude, I totally thought you were talking about when him and Tywin.
Yeah, I was like, I think Zach's going off on a separate track here.
Yeah. I was definitely talking about how heartfelt and like it was just a happy moment between two Lannisters, which you very rarely get in the show at all. And I like that, especially knowing how it impacts some of the future conversations that in the books have not been written yet. Right. So knowing that, I'm totally okay with that change, even though I didn't know that was the change to begin with.
It just, because they had it set up, I guess I don't understand. I think I do understand the reason for them changing it. I think the reason they changed it is because, to be perfectly honest, it's at this point Tyrion kind of becomes not a villain per se, but he's kind of not a good person for a long stretch of time here in the books. And showrunners didn't want that. They wanted you to still love and like Tyrion.
And he still had a de-evolution a little bit, but not to the extent.
No, because even the Shay scene is much more portrayed here as like self-defense. That can be argued, obviously, but you know, she grabs a knife and attacks him first.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, whereas in the book, he just kind of goes in and kills her, and it's not so much self-defense. So that's I think why the show chose to change it. But
does he say I'm sorry twice in the books?
I think he says it once. I don't recall specifically.
Just the way he said it was like, I remember the first time I watched it, I'm like, oh, well, at least he's sorry.
Yeah, at least he's sorry.
Okay, all right, look.
Anyway, yeah,
this is a whole bunch of fucking bullshit and fluff. Yeah. All right, so Tyrion kills Shay. Let's move past that. Unless you guys have anything to say.
No.
I want to get to Tyrion Tywin.
I will say just one quick thing. Tyrion's facial acting as he's doing it, like you can see the torment as he's doing it. So
true. Even when he's just first sees Shay and realizes like the wheels are turning, like what that means.
And like, when she wakes up and is like, my lion.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like just his reaction to finding her in his father's bed is very, very good.
Yeah.
Been there, Tyrion. Know how you feel, bro.
Your father? Anyway.
Not killing somebody for the record.
Also that. Yeah, okay. Talk to us about Tyrion and Tywin, Zach.
Man, okay, so when Tyrion kind of like looks up and he sees the crossbow and everything gets really silent, there's this music that starts to play as he walks out the hall. And it is ominous as fuck. And I feel like it might be...
It's a slowed down version of the Rains of Castamere.
Of the Rains of Castamere. Okay, that's what I thought. The way that it's played, like the key that it's played in or however it's like reworked for this is just ominous and fucking so
good.
Good. Yes, Chaz. Yeah, it's so good, dude. And this entire interaction is just, I mean, masterclass, dude. Peter Dinklage and Charles Dance. How do you perform that well sitting with your pants around your ankles on a fucking toilet?
Dude. Only Charles fucking Dance can pull this off.
It's absurd, man. These two characters just have me so bought in constantly, man. It's so fucking insane. And I don't even have like a specific like, oh, this moment or this moment. I'm just like, the whole scene
the whole
is just
thing.
like,
Yeah,
it's just so fucking good and fun to watch.
I actually have a hot take on one thing.
Is it a hot turd from Charles Dance's asshole?
It's a Charles Dance thing, and maybe you guys can tell me because I have not made it this far in the books yet. But Tywin sort of negotiating or saying what he needs to say to not be killed by Tyrion seemed a little out of character for me. Like
I
when
think
he
it was
says,
just him trying to get back control. I know
he's trying to regain control.
He's trying to regain control, which I think is very Tywin.
When he says, "Did you really think I was going to have you executed?" Like, yes, motherfucker, I thought you were going to have him executed. He was saying that, in my opinion, and this is how I took it. Like he's trying to prevent Tyrion from using that crossbow. Is what it felt like, and that felt out of character.
Let me counter with this, Chaz. When have we ever seen Tywin at a disadvantage? Like, ever in this show?
You could argue, and it's not as blatant as it is now, but you can argue in the earlier scene when Jaime was captured and he was like, "They have my son." That's probably the only other time you've ever seen him at a quote unquote disadvantage, but certainly not to the degree that he is now.
Yeah, I mean, he might be at a slight disadvantage in the war at large, but he's not in a disadvantage as like he still is surrounded by his generals and his lords and his army.
No, he's literally caught with his pants down. He's
literally caught with his pants down. And his son that he just sentenced to death, that he hates, that he's wanted to kill his entire life, is holding a crossbow on him. Like, yeah, like that's we've never seen Tywin in a position that bad before, and
this is the most vulnerable that Tywin has ever been, and I do think that he is grasping, but I don't think I don't think in any way, shape, or form that is not warranted.
No, but
it's warranted, but it felt out of character for me.
No, but what I was going to say is even all that into consideration, his like trying to squirm out of this, if you will, he's still like, he barely even goes down that road. He still barely even recognizes Tyrion as like a threat.
What's the matter? You afraid of a dead horse?
That's what I'm saying. He doesn't. He doesn't listen to Tyrion's threat. He's still not really shook. He's more shocked than anything when Tyrion first shoots him. Like, he still feels like he's in control. Maybe not to the extent that he normally is, but up until Tyrion shoots him,
you shot me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's shocked more than anything, and it's.
I don't
still feels like he's in control.
I don't disagree, and that's why I said it was a hot take, because it just, for me, felt a little bit out of character, but certainly like didn't compromise the scene or anything. Like, it was still a fucking top tier scene.
I think that seeing him in a different light is in a position that we've never had to see him before is not out of character. It's just not something we're used to.
Yeah, I would agree with that. The other thing I wanted to call out real quick, Zach, is you mentioned the music. And you're absolutely right, but I appreciate that how for most of this scene, it's like dead silent. Like, there is no music. It is just cold silence as they stand there and like go back and forth a little bit. And then it's after he shoots him, the music kind of comes back in as the scene is ending. And it's just like, boy, they're really letting that scene breathe, and I appreciate that as well.
Yeah, man, it's the tension between these two is fantastic. So, huge fan of that. The only like mic drop type of moment that I can like that really stands out in this scene. I mean, there's like a ton of good dialogue here, but is just simply when Tywin tries to kind of tell him, you are not my son, and he goes, no, I am your son.
I have always been your son.
I've always been your son, and it's just so good. Yeah.
I am your
there you
son.
go.
I have always been.
Oh,
your
show
son.
the peoples what that
Well,
is.
I tested this earlier. I don't know how it's gonna work. It just showed a reflection of my screen, basically. That's not bad. You can kind of see it that way.
Yeah, that's kind of hard to.
For a very quick story time. Before season 5 premiered, HBO did this thing where, like, in certain IMAX like theaters across the country, you could go and watch the final 2 episodes of season 4, which was Watchers on the Wall and The Children, of course. And me and a couple buddies went, and that's where I got this sick ass poster.
That's rad.
Which is
So sick.
about the final scene there, in, well, somewhat final scene in The Children.
I dig
Hell
it.
yeah, dude.
What a scene it is.
I dig it.
So sick, dude.
What a scene it is.
Wait, so you also got to see Watchers on the Wall
Yes.
in IMAX? Oh,
yes. I was
fucking
gonna
hell,
talk
dude.
about that last week, and I totally forgot. Dude, that
Holy
was
shit, man.
that was a fucking experience, and that's why I think part of the reason, a big chunk of the reason why that's probably my holding. The
There's
number one
maybe
spot.
only one other episode that I think I would rather see in IMAX.
I think I know the one you're talking about, but I know
Yeah.
I think it's Watchers on the Wall for me. But
Mm.
anyway, super cool memories, super fun times.
That's cool. That is rad.
R.I.P. Tywin.
Yes, that's that's the other thing I was gonna bring up here, is that this isn't fair, but also negative points to this episode for the end of Charles Dance. And the
Shut
end of
the fuck
Tywin.
up.
So we get the end of Arya and the Hound, and we get the end of Tywin. So fuck me.
I think the best part about this episode is what happens right after this, where Varys like gets
What have you done?
Tyrion in the box. He's walking back towards the keep, and he hears the bells, and he
Yeah.
goes,
Gotta go,
"Nope,
dog.
I'm out."
He
He's like,
He
"Nope."
literally does. He
Fuck
literally
this
does.
shit, I'm out.
Yeah, like, oh, yeah, okay, I may have miscalculated. Let me just get back on that boat real quick.
Dude, it's so fun. I love how he just casually sits back down and is like, okay.
Yeah. I could just imagine if he had gone back up there, like sitting at the next council meeting, and they're talking about like who killed Tywin. He's doing like the eye meme, like the monkey, the puppet with like the eyes thing. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. I do love this ending though too. Like the combination of like the music and just Arya doing cool Arya things. Like this is how you end a fucking season, man.
Yeah, agreed.
Oh,
It's
so
fantastic.
damn good, dude. They're again, retrospect, not as high on the children as I was before this rewatch, but still a top 2 episode for me.
Man, yeah, all right, any final thoughts, guys?
Not at the moment, no. I feel like I said a lot of mean things about this episode, but it's still in the 5 to 7-ish range, I think. Like once we get to the end of the series and like fully lay out a list, which I'm sure we'll do.
Yeah.
We'll see where it lands, but no, like you said it perfectly,
That
Zach.
low.
For the longest time, yeah, I think so.
Oof.
I'd put a couple episodes from this season alone ahead of it, but I mean, season 4 is just that good, honestly.
It's fair.
Like you said, I had always thought of my favorite episode until we got to the last episode, where I told you, I was like, I think this moves to number 1 for me, The Watchers on the Wall. This one I did not think held up under the scrutiny like that one did. All that being said,
There was, I mean, Scott, there was literally nothing negative that we had to say about last
that's
episode.
what I'm saying.
There was not a single
Watchers on the Wall is fucking goated, man.
single thing that was like,
It's so good.
didn't like that, didn't love this, didn't like the acting, the CGI looked bad. Like there was nothing.
No,
None of that existed.
No. That episode's really
Yeah,
good.
and I
It's
think
perfect.
until you watch it as intentional as you have to for sake of taking notes for the podcast, we probably sort of held them on equal footing before this. And to Scott's point, because we just put it under such a microscope, it's easy to find those flaws.
Yeah.
I think what's funny is that the criticism that I hear people levy at Watchers on the Wall is like, oh, it's just about the wall though. Like, who really cares about the people at the wall, and I'm like, fuck that. Like, if the episode is good, the episode is good. Like,
Yeah.
fuck that. That episode's incredible.
Yes.
If they made a Bran episode that was that good, impossible, I know. But if they did, I'd still love it.
Yeah.
Can you imagine how upset Scott would have been if Sam had died in Watchers on the Wall?
Oh my god. I was upset enough that Gren died, dude.
I might have to riot.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know where this ranks on my list now. Like after this, just putting it in the under the microscope here. I truly love this episode, and I do actually. I want to say it still offers so much.
Yes.
To the story, and that needs to be said. And I think that's a huge reason of why I've always said in the past, like, hey, this is probably my favorite episode. Because you could go down the list. It's like we get the introduction of the children. Which that's a big.
We didn't talk about that a lot.
Yeah, well, because I think it's because we know that
we talked about her mean curveball.
I have a very true. I have a very meta take on that real quick. Can I share that real quick?
Yeah.
Obviously, I feel like the title of this episode, "The Children," is meant to refer to the children of the forest who we are introduced here to. But my take is more is that this episode relies heavily. The pivot of this episode is on Tywin Lannister's children. Cersei's big like rebellion and refusal. Obviously Jaime kind of rejecting everything and rejecting what they're trying to do and setting Tyrion free, and then obviously Tyrion doing everything that he does. And for Tywin having such a central and pivotal role in this show for so long, for the man who could control and basically foresee everything and get what he wanted in every certain way, ultimately it was his own fucking children that were his downfall, that were his undoing. And I think that's just really good like character work and storytelling, honestly.
Yeah.
So
I agree. I think that's, I mean, I would hope that was the thought process when they decided on the name for this episode, because yes, we learn of the children, but I mean, that's a 1/10 of this episode,
Right, for sure.
But yeah, I mean, going down the list, it's like, okay, we learn of the children for the first time. We get the Hound versus Brienne. We get Stannis trampling the wildlings, which is big, like a very big deal. We get
Jojen.
We get
good one.
So along with the children, we also get Bran meeting
the three-eyed raven.
The three-eyed raven, which like has been this like pending thing forever,
Obviously, the Hand of the King and the most powerful man in Westeros dying.
Yes, Tyrion escaping, killing Shay. I mean, Arya getting set on her journey to Braavos. Like, I think just so much.
For one single episode, that there is not a more world, like the World of Ice and Fire, changing episode than this one episode. Like, more big earth-shaking events happen in this episode than any other episode, I would say.
That's probably a really fair way to look at it. And I think that maybe is the title that this episode needs to hold. Not so much, in my opinion, of course, the best episode of the series, as I have always thought of it as.
For sure.
So,
we still have something big to do here, boys.
Let's do the goddamn thing.
Let's do the thing. It's who be thrown in. We got mini Chaz.
We got a little mini Chaz boy.
Yeah, a little picture-in-picture mini Chaz boy here. Boy, are there some Night's Watch members on this list. Because, of course, that was the entire episode last time where we last left off. Number 5 went to our guy Pip, R.I.P. Number 4 went to Sir Alistair Thorne, who had his truly, like, rally moments. Number 3 was Gren. Going out like an absolute boss. Number 2 was Sam, who was truly just phenomenal throughout the whole episode. But number 1, the big coming out party, was Jon goddamn Snow, who absolutely crushed it. they're all gonna come off. Just because none of them were in. Well, no, John was. Shit, maybe John might stay.
You might want to
actually.
leave John. Yeah,
That's okay. You're right. You're absolutely right.
Not number one, but John should be up there.
Well, he'll stay where he's at until he's dethroned. But you're all right. John has a legitimate claim here. Let me make sure to get rid of.
Yeah, he does.
Of these. While I'm finding these fuckers, give me somebody. Who are you guys liking for throwing in?
Brienne, man, gotta bring her up.
Oh, the Hound, Arya.
Oh, that's I don't know. Is Brienne
Tyrion
on our list here? Hold on, you're going too far. I'm still searching for Night's
Jojen.
Watch members.
Bran, Jojen.
Jojen. All right, Jojen is one I can get behind. All right, who were the legit Bran? Like, are we legit considering
No.
Bran? Raisin Bran?
I'm not.
Okay, fine.
Not that's gonna be.
I love that your
Uh,
picture is still season 2.
Yeah,
Bran.
it's like season 2 Bran. The Hound has a legit shot. I think Arya has to make the list. She wins too hard and too much.
I think Brienne should be up there, man. I'm gonna fight for Brienne a little bit.
You might have to find her a picture. Fight to find a picture then and send it to me.
Has she never been on the list?
I'm pretty sure she has never been thrown in.
Holy hell.
I want to toss Cersei out there as a contender.
Of course you do.
Man, I'm surprised Brienne did make the list. And some of those some of those scenes with Jamie, man, those were.
Are you really
some good
surprised
Brienne.
though?
Yeah, but those are really Jamie wins,
That's
not
fair.
really her wins.
That's true.
Where is the one I'm looking for? I think this guy here, Stannis the Manus, has a argument
For that rare dub.
Let's see. All right, Zach, how seriously do you want to take his Brienne?
I think Brienne
claim here?
is okay to be considering for this.
All right, well.
All right, you do your thing,
Yeah.
and I'll remind everybody who's listening and watching that, first off, if this is your first time here, welcome. And we're sorry that you had to listen to an hour and a half of bullshit. But also,
Longer.
consider
A lot
subscribing.
longer than that.
Consider subscribing, hit the like button, do all those things that you're supposed to do. And also, we're going through House of the Dragon currently. By the time you're listening to this, that show will probably be done. But go back and listen to those episodes because it's a damn good time. You can find us on the Twitter and Instagram at We Don't Want a Pod, and be sure to shoot us a DM or an email to get an invite to our Discord. We're talking a bunch of shit in there, talking about House of the Dragon, Game of Thrones, and a bunch of fun things. We actually make fun of Chaz quite a bit in the Discord.
Oh yeah, we don't get to talk about that enough. We need to keep the Chaz slander to more of a minimum, sir. So much of it is unwarranted, and I can't defend myself in the moment. So for that,
that's the best time to talk shit about somebody. That's the best time to talk shit about somebody.
I fucked up.
Scotty, how we doing with those Brienne picks?
I thought I had it, but apparently I hit a wrong button.
All right, well, Brienne doesn't make the list this week.
No,
how about
that? I think I got it here. There we go.
Oh, there you go. That's a good picture. That's from this fight.
That's from this fight, I'm pretty sure.
Indeed,
All
it
right.
is.
You need to crop that bad boy.
I do need to crop that bad boy. There it is, Chaz.
Now you better fight real hard to get her on the list because Scott just went through fucking hell to get her here.
This is gonna be great.
Well, at this point now, all I need to say is, well, can't put all that effort and just not do something with it. So
I mean, that's kind of fair. Although it would be real funny if we just didn't make it.
He's kind of got me there. But also, I really don't think she's gonna make the list. To be honest, I think Jon stays. I think Stannis has to make the list. I think Arya has to make the list.
Hold on. Can you walk me through why you think Jon stays, please?
I also want to know this.
I really, really like his scene with Mance.
Okay, because of the quality of his scenes.
Because of the quality of his scenes, and I also feel like he instantly gained the respect of Stannis, which is not an easy thing to do with Stannis.
Did he though,
Manus?
or is that just
I
is that just
think he
carryover from what Ned has done?
No, I don't think so. I think John knew what he was saying and was spitting some hot fire. Okay. And also, John went into that forest fully intending to die, and he got out alive. So big win there.
That's a pretty solid argument.
Night's Watch is basically saved. So for now,
I mean, not because of him though.
Well, no, not because of him, but he doesn't have to worry about dying immediately anymore. Sure. That's my argument for John.
Okay. John will probably make the list. I'm looking at some of our other contenders here, and I'm like, wow.
Well, who do you want to champion? Like, who do you think is like high on this list?
Arya.
I would say our two, in my opinion, the two winners. Wait, are you not putting Tyrion?
I didn't hear a Tyrion.
I said Tyrion.
Well, I was probably in the middle of doing 13 other things, dick.
Man, this Brienne is becoming a bigger issue than it might be.
Yeah, fuck off.
I would say that number one for me is either Tyrion or Arya, in my opinion.
I think putting Tyrion at 1 is crazy. Dude had to strangle the love of his life.
I am not crazy about Tyrion.
I'm just talking about his performance, man. And he killed Tywin. Okay.
That's fair. The performance.
I could get behind Arya for number 1.
I think Arya is number 1 for sure.
Okay, look, that's a consensus. We all three of us feel like she could take number 1. Let's go ahead and throw her up there.
I think she is nothing but winning in this episode. Her scenes are great, and she gets basically most everything she wants. So Arya's winning all.
Probably not everything she wants.
Well,
she doesn't have a family.
I mean, that is currently attainable,
I feel like this is probably going to be a pretty quick no, but do we at least want to consider Bran?
No.
I think we briefly did and briefly dismissed it.
Okay.
I think that, look, if we're talking about position, then, he has an argument because he finally met the Three-Eyed Raven, but, his scenes were ass, and we don't really get anything about the Three-Eyed Raven. We don't know what the fuck's going to happen.
Yeah.
The only reason, for me, the only reason I bring it up is, dude, we have built a couple of seasons of Bran on this quest to find the Three-Eyed Raven.
And it still felt that lackluster? Yeah.
No,
he's not.
I agree that it's lackluster, but it's worthy of mentioning at least.
The only other one, as I'm looking through the list here, that I would float, although I don't know if he would make it, is Jaime. Because he was really only in this episode for 2 or 3 minutes.
I don't think that Jaime holds any weight compared to anybody else that we're considering.
I agree. I just thought I'd float him out there.
Okay.
He almost gave Cersei the golden finger, but that was about it.
Speaking of, I think Cersei needs to make this list. To everyone's shock. I know.
I don't know.
She stands the fuck up to Tywin and leaves him without a retort in a way that basically no one ever has.
I mean, Tyrion kind of did it later this episode.
That's not
true.
Shooting someone with a crossbow is a very different fucking way of doing things.
I'm not crazy about Cersei making it, but I mean, let's see what else we got.
Okay, next, if you guys don't like Tyrion as high as I feel like he should be, then next has got to be the Hound.
The Hound.
Yeah.
So I didn't think you guys would be on this bandwagon because he literally, we leave him bleeding on the hillside.
But
be killed. Okay.
His performance is still incredible. His fight's incredible. And the conversation he has with Arya at the end, pleading for her to kill him, is unbelievable.
Okay, perfect.
He deserves it.
I did not think I would get the support there. No, I'm pleased with this.
That said, I just need this to be heard, dude. I am gonna lobby for Brienne here. How do we not put Brienne above the Hound after she beats the fucking brakes off him, dude?
She sucks.
She
doesn't suck, but just compared to the Hound, she fucking sucks.
Again, and to be fair, to this day, I still don't understand your guys' criteria for who be thrown in.
True.
But that
That's
said,
part of the
like,
gag.
yes, we like the Hound more, and especially the interaction leading up to that fight. I would definitely say the Hound takes it. But dude, he just got his ass kicked by a girl. Like, that girl deserves probably to be ahead of him.
What are you, sexist, Chaz?
I'm gonna be real honest.
Yes.
Of these 5 remaining candidates, which for our audio listeners, currently we have Arya and the Hound on the list. Our 5 remaining candidates we have narrowed it down to is Jon Snow, Stannis, Tyrion, Brienne, and Cersei. I like Brienne to make the list the least of those 5.
But not ahead of the Hound.
She's definitely not ahead of the Hound.
The least, he said.
The least.
Oh, I thought you said at least.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
like, yeah, that's a good way to phrase that, Scott. Of who's left, do you think Brienne's higher than anybody else?
No, I don't personally.
So hold on. You looked up this picture and you put that much effort in for nothing?
You fucking wanted me to, and I'm not gonna bow to that as your reasoning.
No, that's not my reason. Again, dude, like, that fight, we literally said it in the middle of the podcast that this is a contender for the best one-on-one fight in the entire show. And if it's not one, it's top 3.
Yeah. Well,
how is that not worthy of making the list? Even though, yeah, the Hound carries.
Okay,
the
well, the mountain
Yeah,
didn't make the list.
that's what I
when
was just
he
about to
killed
say.
The Oberyn.
We liked the Mountain and the Viper fight, but we sure as shit didn't put the Mountain on that list. I can tell you that right now.
The Mountain
because the Mountain's bland, it has no personality.
Right.
This
The Mountain sucks
is a
way
perfect
harder than
correlation.
Brienne, dude. Like, it's not the same. It's definitely not the
No,
same.
I think
Brienne
it's
doesn't-
1-1. This is literally the same exact situation. Oberyn lost, and we put him on the list. The Mountain won, and we were like, "Fuck that guy, he's staying off." The
Also,
list.
that episode hasn't aired, so I didn't know you guys did that.
No,
But
true. That's what I'm telling
all
you.
the same. Brienne is way more interesting of a character than the fucking Mountain, dude.
Zach, where do you land on Brienne?
Of the 2 people that we need to cut, I think Brienne and Cersei are the 2 that we need to cut.
You need to cut 3, my guy.
No, count again.
No.
Sir Pounce does not count.
Wrong again, Chaz.
Sir
This is why Chaz doesn't make decisions for the podcast.
No, you need to cut. My point is, you need to cut 2, Zach. You're saying we need to cut one of them. You need to cut 2
dude,
people.
did you not? Are you not listening to me? I said of the 2, we need to cut 2
of the
people.
2. No. You
No.
said of the 2 that we need to cut.
Scott understood me.
It doesn't
we need
matter.
We need to cut these.
We
2
need to
fuckers,
cut
Cersei
2.
and Brienne.
Dude. Okay.
I think I might agree.
Would you cut anybody else?
Are we
Scott?
sold on Stannis? I know I
I'm
was the
not.
one that brought him up, but
If Stannis drops, Cersei stays. That's how I. That's how I. That's
Wow, you
kind of how I
are
see it.
real fucking hard against Brienne, huh?
I don't think she's interesting, dude.
okay. Can we all? So it seems to me what I'm hearing is Jon and Tyrion are gonna make this list, and we're looking for one of Stannis, Cersei, and Brienne. Is that fair to say?
I would say that yes, that's fair.
I think
Do you
Tyrion
agree,
goes in
Jez?
front. Yes, and I think Tyrion goes ahead of Jon.
Tyrion for his performance. Absolutely.
I'll shake to that. Okay, so let's move Tyrion to 3. Jon to 4. And that leaves us with the 5 spot.
Okay, so it sounds like we can all 3 agree that maybe Stannis does not need to be in this conversation.
I don't know if I agree with that. I'm really torn here. For me, it's between Stannis and Cersei because, again, no one has left Tywin speechless like that before.
Yeah, but her scenes weren't that good though.
This is right. I did have problems with her Jaime scene.
Her scenes
All
weren't
right.
great.
All right. You convinced me. You talked me into it.
All right, I guess it's between Brienne and Stannis.
Fuck yeah, I'm already taking that as a dub.
Well, good. Now let's go ahead and get Stannis up there, and Chaz will shut up.
We get rid of Brienne.
Okay, no. Before you do this, before you pull the trigger on this, fucking, I want to say hear me out, but I'm out of ammo, dude. I got nothing.
You got nothing.
Brienne does not defeat an entire army in this episode, so ergo it must go to, as you call him, the Lord of Elves, Stannis the Manus.
That's our list.
I just don't think Brienne did anything that interesting aside from win a fight against the Hound, and we even talked about how, like, even that, like, the results of that are kind of bullshit, to be fair.
Okay, but if I beat a sick
Also her screams.
Brock Lesnar in a fucking fight, I still beat Brock Lesnar in a fight, dude.
I think you versus
but you're
Brock
not getting
Lesnar,
put on the list of most interesting people.
Okay, so is that the criteria for this list?
Hold on. I think you versus Brock Lesnar is a little bit less of a fair fight than Brienne versus the Hound, first of all. So I don't think that translates 1-to-1.
I beat Brock Lesnar while I had a gun, and he had nothing.
Brock Lesnar in a full body cast versus me with a gun, and I won.
You get my point. Okay, so if that's the criteria for who be throning is who's more interesting
this episode,
then Cersei definitely deserves it before Stannis does.
Yeah, but her scenes were ass.
No, they weren't.
One of her scenes was not.
And the other one was just a very mid Cersei scene.
I mean, I liked it.
You literally just said she shut Tywin up.
I said that.
Zach agreed. If it's most interesting, then she definitely deserves it above Stannis. What did Stannis really do?
Why are you fighting against Stannis?
It's not
all
most
the
interesting,
time?
Chaz. That is a huge part of it.
Listen, bitch, that's your fucking motivation for taking Brienne off of this list.
Listen, our criteria is rock solid and perfectly explained. We don't need to re-explain it to you, Chaz.
Yeah, everybody out there knows.
Everyone
all of our listeners know
that we have no bias in this whatsoever, and it's rock solid.
And this is super legit and totally official.
We should put Danny on here for being on the juice, lifting those fucking chains.
Lifting the shackle.
She'd be strong.
Dude, Brienne just took a kick to the clam and got up.
Yeah. Yeah, big time.
I have a
so her taking a kick to the clam knocks her off the list.
Knocks her off the list. It kicked her clam right off the list. Wham bam, right off the list. This was Who Be Throated. Our final tally here is Arya Stark at number 1. The Hound at number 2. My guy Sandor Clegane. Tyrion at 3. Jon Snow at 4. And Stannis the Manus at 5. And always Sir Pounce in our hearts in the center. Chaz can go to hell. What's our rating for this episode, boyos?
9.
Chaz?
I'm gonna go with
8.8. 8.8.
I'm gonna go with a flat 8.
8.8.
Wow, damn.
No, 8.5. 8.5.
I am also going 9. I'm with Zach. Anything else? Any final?
I think that's it. Everybody listening, watching, we love you guys so much. Thanks for sticking with us through this bullshit episode here. That was a fucking ride.
Piece of work.
We will see you guys next time. Be sure to do all the things, the liking, the commenting, the subscribing, all that good stuff.
Thank you for joining us, Chaz. We love you.
Oh, yes, that formalities. Chaz, really do, truly, jokes aside, appreciate you being on the podcast, man. It's always a blast having you on. Love you to death.
Brienne 2022, dude.
Never mind. All right, never mind. Fuck off.
Never mind.
We'll
see you next time.
Why did we get off of Jojen so fast?
Reopen the Jojen. Get the fuck out.
Jojen man.
All right, fuckers.
Trojan
Stop
man.
this shit.
Was that the Trojan man?
It was.